I look like a freaking news anchor. No. Okay, I can't. Hello. No, wait till the jacket's off. Hello. That's better. Okay. Hi to everyone who's new here. This is normal. But if you are new here, that means that there may be a chance that you got a new piece of jewelry over the holidays. You know what I'm saying? So congratulations. Welcome to the Lovely Humans Club. I'm so happy you're here. Be sure to hit that subscribe button because we do weekly videos on how to plan your wedding, and this week's video is no different. Oh, hi. By the way, my name's Jamie. I'm a wedding planner, and this is my channel. So good at this. How to plan a wedding in 5 steps. Is this a radically oversimplified list? Yes! Absolutely. Is it a clickbaity title? Yes, also. Absolutely. But listen, if I'm going to rank high on Google, I got to make sure I'm using all the right words, okay? And also, really and truly, planning a wedding is pretty simple. It's just planning a party. Yet where, of course, you are marrying the love of your life, so I don't want to lessen it emotionally. And what makes wedding planning difficult really is finances, emotions, and expectations. And so many things fall into those categories. We can do a whole nother video on that at a different time. You're new here, so I didn't want to scare you off by getting into the really, really nitty-gritty details like so many other people. If you Google how to plan a wedding, all the articles that pop up are 25 plus things that you need to do. And I'm like, that is too much. It is too much when you're getting started. And of course, we go into way more detail in the master plan. If you're a member of the master plan, then you know this, where we break it down into 10 modules. Sure, I mean, it's twice as many more than there are here in this video, but at least it's not the 25 to 43 that you see on all the articles online, right? Which of course, I will link right up here and down in the description box below. Step number 1, strategize. Okay, we're talking planning meeting with you and your future spouse, sitting down, dumping down all the ideas. This is where you want to talk about your budget, like how much money do you want to spend? This is where you want to talk about your guest count. How many people do you want to invite? What time of year do you kind of want to get married? Like get a general vibe, setting, look that you kind of want, those kinds of things. You're also going to have a chat about priorities. And I don't think that this is given enough credence or thought in the wedding industry. Like you and your partner need to sit down and figure out what is the most important to you, because that will affect your budget a lot. Like you could go pick a budget out of a hat off Pinterest, like a cute little infographic you want. Like those are great and all, but they absolutely do not work for everybody. Now, if you are struggling with trying to figure out how your priorities affect your budget, we put together this fun little quiz. I highly encourage you go check that out because it helps you figure out, if your priority is the looks of it, here's where you should spend more, here's where you should save. It's such an awesome comprehensive little quiz, so go check that one out. The next thing you're going to want to do is go ahead and book the big 6. The big 6 vendors that absolutely everybody has, or you should probably have at your wedding. I've done a whole other video on budget brides. You only need these 5 things. It is really, really, truly helpful. If you want to pull back down to some of the barest essentials for your wedding day, I highly recommend checking out that video. But in this one, we're talking about the most typical and or traditional weddings that we typically see here in the States. First one, venue. Kind of obvious. You can't really book other people unless you know when and where you're getting married, so venue comes first. Next to that, we have photography, food and beverage, rentals, DJ, and florist, or some sort of centerpiece thing. Those are the big 6. So obviously a place to hold the party, food to eat, drinks to drink, some sort of music, something playing in the background so we don't have awkward silence, Never fun for anyone. Something centerpiece in the middle of tables, and then rentals, like a place for someone to put their tushy during your ceremony and a table to eat at during your reception. And of course, if you want a timeline for when all of these are supposed to be booked, we've got ours right here. Feel free to give it a download. They'll tell you when you're supposed to be booking things in order. That's a good resource for that. But if memory serves me correctly, based off of the timeline, I think first would be venue, then photo, then food and or beverage, and then florals, and then rentals. Did I mention them all? Venue, photo, food and bev, florals, rentals. What am I missing? Oh, DJ. He's in there too. They're in there too. Go down on the timeline. And step number 3, we add a little flourish to it. A little spice, a little sweet, a little bit of your favorite color, a little bit of exploiting that Pinterest page that you and I both know that you've had for 4.5 years, waiting for this moment to arrive. This is the time that we deep dive into that and start booking vendors and or doing DIY that add a little extra, a little flourish to your wedding day. They're not essential, but this is really what sets your day apart from others. And the vendors that you might book in this category could be, but are not limited to, hair and makeup, videography, photo booth, dessert, an officiant, a wedding planner and a coordinator. Yes, I put myself in the flourish category because that's what I bring. I know the value of a planner, right? And some people might see this category as these are still non-negotiable. Some of you might hear hair and makeup artist and you're like, oh, there's no chance I'm not having one. No chance it's happening. That's okay, but it's also not essential to your wedding day, right? That's just a conscious choice that we're making to add flourish. It's important to you, but it's still flourish. In the same way, I also feel like adding a wedding planner or a coordinator is still flourish. You can absolutely have a wedding day without a coordinator present. I didn't have one at mine. I know the value of what we provide. Literally, this is a full-time job for me, so there's a reason that I do what I do. It's more than just stand there and look like I know what I'm doing. I actually do stuff. But I know that I'm not essential to everyone. You see, most of us probably wouldn't argue with the big six. You need a place to have it. You probably want some background music. You want a way to capture the memories. You might need some rentals. You're probably going to want to feed people, have some drinks available, maybe some flowers, some sort of centerpiece. You don't have to hire a florist, but something in the middle. Those are kind of non-negotiables. Those are like, we have to have these. These are the baseline. But the flourish is where you get to pick and choose what works with your budget and your desires for your wedding day. Because you could get through your wedding day without a hair or makeup artist. You could get through your wedding day without a videographer or a photo booth. You could get through your wedding day without desserts, although that could probably fall under food and bev. Again, it's a negotiable item. You may not have to have it. You could get through your wedding day without having an officiant. You could have a friend or a family member do it instead. This is where you get to pick and choose to make sure you really get to put what you and your fiance want for your wedding day specifically, where you don't have to follow all of the rules. You just get to have fun with it. And last little flourish that you can add is any sort of DIY. Do you want to hand make your invitations? Do you want to build your own dessert bar? Do you want to make your favors? Table numbers, seating chart, signage. Honestly, the sky is the limit. We do talk about DIY here a lot of this channel. I recommend moderation, just in case, because you don't want to be drowning in doilies and cricket scraps until the day of your wedding. Step number 4, time to get into them details, hun. Yeah. And this is where people start to get a little overwhelmed. Now that you've strategized, you've booked the big 6, you've added a little flourish to it, it's time to get all of the details squared away. If you have a wedding planner, obviously you have someone that's guiding you through this. Fantastic. You got that person to lean on. If you don't have a wedding planner, you're going to want a centralized checklist, planner, binder, book, master plan membership. Highly recommend that last one. It's got PDFs, it's got spreadsheets, it's got checklists, it's got email templates. It really does have everything you need to make sure that you don't lose any of those details through the cracks. And then in addition to that, my best advice to you is to have conversations with your vendors. Now, the best thing that you can say is, what do you need from me to accomplish what we hired you to do? You can add a little bit extra to it. It doesn't have to be that straightforward, or it can be, I don't need to tell you how to talk to people. But what this conversation opens up is the ability for your vendor to say, I need a guest count from you. I need a timeline from you. I need access to your Pinterest board so I can see your floral vision. It's a very simple, clear way of being like, hey, guess what? Newsflash, I don't know what I'm doing here. You seem to be the professional. Tell me what you need, and I'll get it to you when possible. During this time, you're also going to want to figure out your day of timeline. This is another thing that vendors will be hounding you for. This is also another thing that we have in the master plan, link down below too, in case you missed the pop-up link earlier in the video. You're welcome. Where you can literally fill in 5 numbers and it'll make your whole entire timeline for you. And lastly, step 5, delegate that business. All right, you went through all the steps. You did. You strategized. You picked the big 6, you added some flourish, you figured out the details, you said, hey, what do you need from me? Bing, bang, boom, you got it done. And now you pass it off. You pass off timeline management to your coordinator. No coordinator, talk to your photographer and your DJ, because those are the two that the timeline will typically fall on when you don't have a coordinator. You've now figured out the details of how food is going to be served and what food service looks like. You pass that off, you delegate that, the caterer has it from here. If you've done any DIY and you have family members or friends that are coming in to do the setup and teardown for you, you've written down that list, you've gotten those details out, and now you pass it off back to them and say, here you go, I am delegating. And this is so hard for some of us. Literally, I was the person that walked around my reception before the wedding started to make sure everything looked good. One of the best decisions I've ever made was to do that, because I worked so dang long on those centerpieces, and I was like, I'm going to see them. I need to see each and every single one of them before this thing kicks off, because I worked so hard on them. But I had delegated the setup and the teardown of those to other people. Is this an oversimplified way to talk about planning a wedding? Yes, of course. There are 70 details that go into each one of these big steps. But the whole point of today's video is to really and truly show you that it can be that simple. Strategize, book the big 6, add your flourish, hone in the details, and then delegate and pass it off. This is what I do for a living. Planning weddings, it does not have to be stressful. It does not have to be hard. It does not have to be difficult. It does not have to be big, giant lists that make you want to rip your hair out, all right? It really is as simple as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why did I do that? I don't know. We're going to pull my face off the camera though. That's all we have for this week's video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you want more details on how to plan a wedding, be sure to subscribe, stick around, and sign up for the master plan where you get access to all of my wedding planning secrets from point A to wedding day for $29 a month. Thank you very much. If you like this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button, like this video because you like the video, and subscribe to this channel for more tips and tricks for the modern day bride. And until next week, bye guys.